Every cooking show you've ever watched has quietly misled you. Not about how to hold a knife or when to flip a steak, but about something far more fundamental: time. You were told that good food demands hours, that shortcuts are a kind of culinary cheating, that unless you've spent half your day sweating over heat and timing everything to perfection, you somehow haven't earned a proper meal. That idea has been repeated so often it feels like truth. It isn't. It's a myth dressed up as tradition, and it has kept generations of home cooks doing more work than necessary for results that are often worse. Hidden behind that myth is a collection of techniques that most people would never admit to using. Some of them are dismissed as lazy, others as outdated, and a few are treated like outright heresy. Yet these same methods quietly produce better flavor, better texture, and better consistency than the proper ways you've been taught. They've been ignored by glossy cookbooks, mocked by food purists, and passed down instead through experience, habit, and necessity. These are the shortcuts that actually work. Take something as simple as roasting potatoes. You've been told to carefully parboil them, rough them up just enough, and then roast them with precision. But the real secret is to go further than that. Boil them until they are almost falling apart, until they're genuinely soft. Then drain them and let them sit untouched until their surfaces turn dry and chalky. That fragile, powdery coating is exactly what you want. When those potatoes hit hot fat, that outer layer transforms into an intensely crisp shell, while the inside stays soft and airy. It's less effort, less stress, and the result is better in every way. Or consider frozen peas, the ingredient many people treat as second best. In reality, they're often superior to so-called fresh ones, especially outside of peak season. Instead of cooking them separately, they go straight into whatever you're making during the final minutes. Their cold temperature briefly lowers the heat of the dish, subtly thickening sauces, while their natural sweetness balances stronger flavors. It removes an entire step and improves the final result without any extra effort. Even something as ordinary as making a toasted sandwich has been overcomplicated. Butter has always been the default, but spreading mayonnaise on the outside of the bread changes everything. It browns more evenly, creates a crispier crust, and spreads effortlessly without tearing the bread. The difference is immediate and obvious, yet many people resist it simply because it feels unconventional. Then there's the humble aubergine, often criticized for turning soft and lifeless in the pan. The fix is simple: salt it and walk away. Let it sit long enough to draw out excess moisture, then pat it dry. That one step transforms its texture completely, allowing it to caramelize instead of steam. It's not extra work, just smarter timing. Garlic offers another example. Instead of painstakingly chopping it into tiny pieces, crushing it releases more of its flavor in seconds. The act of smashing it breaks down its structure more aggressively, unlocking stronger aromas and deeper taste. What looks like a shortcut is actually a more effective method. Even poaching eggs, something often treated as delicate and complicated, becomes straightforward with a small addition. A splash of vinegar in the water helps the egg white set quickly and neatly around the yolk. No swirling water, no elaborate technique, just a simple chemical reaction doing the work for you. Leftover rice, which so often turns dry and unappetizing when reheated, can be revived with a trick that seems almost too simple. Add a couple of ice cubes before microwaving. The ice creates steam, gently rehydrating the grains without making them soggy. The texture returns, soft and separate, as if it had just been cooked. Tomato sauces reveal another widely misunderstood truth. Fresh tomatoes aren't always better. For cooked dishes, tinned tomatoes often deliver richer flavor because they're processed at peak ripeness. They provide consistency and depth that out-of-season fresh produce simply can't match. And then there are those small, overlooked ingredients that transform everything they touch. A few drops of a fermented, savory sauce can add layers of flavor that would otherwise take hours to build. It doesn't dominate the dish, it enhances what's already there, making everything taste fuller and more complete. Pasta water, usually poured away without thought, is another hidden asset. That cloudy liquid is full of starch, which helps bind sauces and create a silky finish. Adding it back into your dish turns separate elements into something cohesive and balanced. Onions, which typically require long cooking to develop sweetness, can be sped up dramatically with a tiny pinch of baking soda. It accelerates the breakdown of their structure, releasing sugars faster and producing deep color and flavor in a fraction of the time. Pastry, often treated as delicate and fussy, benefits from cold, not careful handling. Grating frozen butter into flour creates perfect pockets of fat that lead to flakier results, all while reducing effort and handling time. Even bacon, something most people insist must be fried, can be cooked in the microwave with surprisingly better consistency. It crisps evenly, stays flat, and avoids the mess entirely. Seasoning meat ahead of time is another misunderstood practice. Salting it well before cooking allows the seasoning to penetrate deeply, improving both flavor and texture. It also dries the surface, helping it sear more effectively. Stock cubes, often dismissed as inferior, provide a fast and reliable flavor base. They may not replace long-simmered stock entirely, but they deliver depth in seconds when time matters most. Resting meat properly, covered not just with foil but with an added layer of insulation, keeps it warm longer and improves its tenderness as juices redistribute evenly. Spices, when added directly to liquid, can taste dull, but briefly frying them in hot oil releases their full potential, creating a richer, more aromatic result. A small spoonful of fermented paste stirred into gravy at the end can elevate it beyond expectation, adding complexity without altering its identity. Even baking traditions aren't immune to unnecessary steps. Sifting flour, once essential, is often redundant with modern ingredients. A quick mix achieves the same effect. Finishing pasta directly in its sauce ensures every strand absorbs flavor rather than sitting beneath it. It's a subtle shift that changes the entire dish. Roasted vegetables benefit from a touch of sugar, which enhances caramelization and balances their natural flavors, making them far more appealing. Salt, perhaps the most misunderstood ingredient of all, works best when added gradually throughout cooking rather than all at once. Layering it builds depth instead of creating a harsh surface taste. Scrambled eggs, often overcooked, can be transformed by adding butter at the very end. It cools them slightly and creates a smoother, creamier texture. Deglazing a pan after cooking captures the concentrated flavors left behind, turning them into an instant sauce with minimal effort. And finally, one of the simplest yet most debated practices, letting meat sit at room temperature before cooking. It allows for more even cooking, better texture, and a more consistent result overall. All of these methods share one thing in common. They challenge the idea that effort equals quality. They show that understanding how food works is far more valuable than blindly following tradition. The best cooking isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. The real secret has never been hidden in complicated techniques or expensive ingredients. It has always been in these small, practical decisions that save time while improving results. The kind of decisions made quietly, repeatedly, by people who cook every day not for show, but for real life. Try just one of these approaches, and the difference becomes obvious. Not because it feels easier, but because it works better. And once you see that, it becomes impossible to go back to doing things the long way for no reason at all.